Welcome to Module 2 of the MELI Unit's Data Collection Methods course. In this module, we will introduce you to the foundational concepts of data collection ethics and informed consent, including the basics of personally identifiable information and the components of informed consent. Let's get started. Let's start by looking at personally identifiable information, or PII, which is any information that can be used to identify, locate, or contact an individual. There are two types of PII. The first are direct identifiers, which includes information such as the individual's full name, a mailing or home address, city of residence, dates relating to the individual such as date of birth, disability status, email address, telephone number, passport number, physical or biological identifiers, physical appearance through photo or video data collection, fingerprints, DNA, etc. And the second type are indirect identifiers, which are pieces of information that can be combined with other information to potentially re-identify a specific individual, even when direct identifiers have been removed. Indirect identifiers include unique, observable, or other characteristics such as program track, cohort year, age, and/or country of citizenship. The possibility of an indirect identifier being used to re-identify an individual increases when the respondent pool is small. For example, collecting information on city and state of an exchange participant. Along with PII, we are also concerned with sensitive data, which includes information that poses a risk to the individual or entity if it is collected or released in a way that could be linked to a specific individual. This could include income, assets, or health status, the public release of which could harm survey respondents. So what are the components of informed consent? The following items should be written into your consent script, which should be presented to each participant or respondent in full as you begin your data collection. First is the data collection purpose, which is where you explain to a respondent in plain English why you want to collect this information from them. For example, the goal of this survey is to understand the relationships you have built as a result of your participation in the program. The survey will also ask questions about your life after participation in the program. You will want to lay out the expected time commitment. For example, the survey contains 35 questions and should take 20 minutes on average to complete. You'll tell respondents if their participation is voluntary or required, and any risks or benefits associated with participation. For example, please note that your participation in this survey is voluntary, and you are free to end the survey at any time. We do not anticipate that participating in this survey will result in any risks or direct benefit to you. You'll also need to specify whether you are promising confidentiality or complete anonymity. Promising confidentiality means the identity of the respondent is known to the evaluator or individuals collecting data, but the evaluator takes steps to protect the identity of the respondent. Promising anonymity means the identity of the individuals responding, typically to a survey, is unknown to the evaluator or individuals collecting the data. Information provided by a respondent cannot then be used in tandem with any other data or databases to identify the respondent. For example, all the responses you provide during the survey will be kept confidential to the furthest extent possible. Only the researchers directly involved with this study will have access to your personal information. Here, perhaps confidential was used because email addresses are being collected. But if there is no way for you to tie back a survey response to a precise individual, then this consent language could be changed to highlight that it was anonymous as opposed to confidential. You'll explain how data will be used, shared, and stored. For example, aggregated responses or de-identified qualitative insights from open-ended questions may be included in the final report or publications resulting from the evaluation. De-identified data files will be submitted to the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs, ECA, at the U.S. Department of State upon completion of the evaluation, without names or any contact information. The data you provide may be reanalyzed at a later date for a follow-up study or other purposes approved by ECA. And lastly, you will want to provide a point of contact that respondents can reach out to with questions or to withdraw their consent. For example, you may withdraw your consent at any time by contacting ECA Evaluation at state.gov. There are a couple of additional considerations you will want to think about when writing your informed consent language. The first is whether you are working with minors. If this is the case, then you will need to obtain parental or legal guardian's consent and the child's consent before data collection takes place. Remember that parental or legal guardian's consent should be documented, and use different informed consent language for each party, so different consent for the parent or guardian and the minor. And the second is the national privacy and data storage laws and regulations involved. Different countries have different data privacy laws that you will likely need to take into account as you prepare for data collection. Ask yourself, what protections, rights, or guarantees must be ensured when collecting personal data from visitors or program participants according to the national laws where I am conducting data collection? And what are the implications of these laws? So, do I really need consent script for my data collection? Yes. Informed consent by way of consent script should not be viewed as optional in human subject research, even in smaller or more informal data collection. And that's it for our module on data collection ethics and informed consent. When you're ready, you can head back to the training overview and move on to Module 3 on survey development.